Good morning. Welcome to Crush It Trading Live. This is your host, Will V, otherwise known as Will Power, and I am the Psychomaniac Day Trader. And we are going to get into April's Double Your Money Challenge. So we have a challenge going on where we're doubling our money through April, May, and June. And we're going to go over the April results here real quick. We'll go over some of the steps that took place yesterday, and let's see where everything is at, okay? So the first thing I want to start out with is I'm going to start with the Excel spreadsheets for April. I think we had a really good month as far as the technicals go and what we had and everything. And let's start with MSTR. It's been one of our favorite tickers. And let me get this up here right now. Trading page. There we go. MSTR. Whoops. There we go. Okay, you can see that. Now also, I have some swing trades going on. You can see that those are going to look pretty good at the open. We have some Microsoft, Coin, Apple, Tesla. Tesla's mediocre. Apple's a little bit down. Not worried about that one. But Microsoft, I think it's up about 20 or 30 bucks. So that is going to look good. So we'll see what happens there at the open. But anyways, you can see the swings up there on the board. That's what we got going. And if you're in the room, you also can look at this and see the trades that I'm taking throughout the day. Also, profits, how many contracts and whatnot. But let's take a look at MSTR here for the month of April. Okay. We were stopped out 4 times in the month of April. And we had 17 crush it zone trades. Now, you didn't necessarily have to get in all of them, but you should have got in most of them. Now, talk about doubling your money. If you had $1,000 and you compounded this every single day on MSTR, you should have ended the month at, well, you'd be less than 27,000. Sorry, I should have had this ready a little bit better. Well, you'd be minus 15% on that one here. So whatever 27,000 minus 15% roughly is. Let's see here. So about 22,000. About 22,000. I did not take this trade. I put the stop in. So let's go to this and just look at this really quick here. This is MSTR. Never would have taken this trade in the first place. Okay, I never would have taken. I know some people tried it, but I never would have taken this trade. This was at the crush it zone on the bearish side, and let me put this in right here. So you can see we got down through the crush it zone here. And it just kind of blew through. It was early. So most of our setups take place at about 10 o'clock. So, excuse me, one of the things, we can do to make our numbers a little bit better is we kind of know when to get in and when not to get into the trades. Okay. And this one here, which day is this one here? This is the 29th. No wonder why. So move this back over here. So we can actually see the crush it zone. Can you tell I'm from Minnesota? Okay, so this thing just blew right through. Now, I know some people took it. We talked about this a couple days ago. You kind of know when not to get into these trades, right? So here's MSTR yesterday, and it just blew through the crush it zone. There's no need to mess with it. Okay, now a lot of people like to take the 84%, or they like to try to take it the second time around, which is fine. I usually don't, because I keep myself open to other opportunities, especially if it's flying through that quick, okay? Usually there's other opportunities up, but you can still take this to the upside. You do get a nice move to the crush it zone. We get an arrow, right? Move to the upside, and it is a pretty good move, and it's worth about $13, okay? However, when we go to the Excel spreadsheet, we want MSTR here. You can see that, correct? So even though we marked the stop out, we say we would have had a $22,000 month, which is 22 times 1,000. I mean, think about that for a second. It's absolutely crazy what this strategy is able to do if you guys are able to eliminate the fear of the trade and go all in and just believe in the system, okay? The average move was about $10. The median move, $10. So we know that when we get into the crush it zone, we know that if we take half the median, we have a 75% chance of a $5 move. A $5 move on MSTR is worth $100 to $200 per contract, depending on the day, the IV, and whatnot. So you can make some really good money on just a partial move, right? We don't need the entire move. We're just looking for a piece of the pie, and we're looking to stay consistent on that piece of the pie all through the month of May, right? May is going to be all about consistency and managing the trade, learning how to get through this, okay? So I just want to show you that this is it right here. We have doubled. If you would have stuck on just MSTR only, and you could eliminate the fear of getting into the trade, eliminate the panic from getting out too early, the anxiety of jumping in too early or jumping in too late, looking for that one more confirmation, right? We talked about this too. If you are in the trade, right, and you jump in at the crush it zone, just to jump in at the crush it zone, right, that's what you really just need to do. If you try to look for one more confirmation, what that does is it takes you farther away from your stop loss, right? It takes you farther away, and it gets you closer to your target, which means you're making less money in the target, and you are going to lose more money if you get stopped out. The thing is we don't know when we're going to get stopped out, and we don't know when it's going to be, a run to the zero line. We don't know, right? So that's why you just randomly play it, right? And I'm going to go back and talk about this one more time. So you have these scenarios right here. You have scenario 1, scenario 2, and scenario 3, right? It doesn't matter when you get stopped out. You might start the trade like here in scenario 3 and go, oh, I got stopped out. I won when I got stopped out, right? And you are down $1,400 in the account, but you stay consistent. You trade the same every day. We did not add money to the account right here. We just kept doing what we were supposed to do, and we ended up with 4,401 in this scenario. Same thing here. It doesn't matter when the stops come. You're going to always end up with the same amount of money. Time is not constrained. You cannot put constraints on time. You just the improbability is the law of random numbers, right? So you just don't know when they're going to come, right? But if I look at the MSTR here over the long term here, you'll see in April we have a 79% win rating, right? We took $1,000 and turned it into $27,000. In March, okay, let's look at March here. We were stopped out twice. We were able to take $2,000 and turning it into $22,000. We had a 90% win rating, okay? We had a smaller win rating in April. We had more money that we made in April. Going into February, MSTR had a 60% win rating, but we still were able to take $2,000 and turn it into $3,800. Now, the whole idea of this compounding is, if you had $2,000 in February, well, you take that $3,000 and you put it into March, and that $3,000 in March turns into 22, and you just keep adding it up, and then you hit that threshold where you're going to be averaging about anywhere from $40,000 to $100,000 per month once you start picking up some speed and get some traction. Here is January. We had 2 stop outs, 88% win rating based on the plays we had. We took $2,000, turned it into $13,000. Here's December. Let's go back to December here. This is MSTR. $2,000 turned into $9,000, 76% win rating. And November, 83% win rating. Stopped out 3 times, 265% total for the month. $2,000 turned into $20,000. Let's just go back to October real quick, and we'll end it with this one here. 73% win rating. $500 would have produced $2,300 that you could have applied to the next month, right? In November here, if you put $2,000, then you'd turn it into $20,000. And then by January, if you'd taken maybe $10,000 and put it in here, you definitely would have quadrupled your money. So you'd be up to that 50. So within 3 to 4 months, you should be at the $50,000 to $100,000 per month range. And then we'll get into more lessons about how to manage the big account so you're not risking so much, right? And you have more money to play with on the strategies. All right. So that is MSTR, you guys. That's MSTR. It's for doubling your money in April. And, we're starting May today. So let's get into the next one here. Let's talk about coin. Okay, coin had a kind of a crush it zone trade. This is all about management. This is just pure management. We did get a crush it zone trade in here, right? We did get a move to the 0.382. Okay, we talked about the fact that what is the average move on coin, which we'll talk about that here in just a second. So look at what your average move is. Look at what your surroundings, what's happening with QQQs, what's the sentiment of the market. Figure out when to take your profits. Now, you should say either take them at either one of these key levels, what your price is at, or if you're at 20, 30, 40%. All right, I have the 20, 40, 50 rule too. We'll talk about that in the month of May when you should be scaling on these trades. And we're going to try to help eliminate panic mode because I know a lot of people get in that panic mode and they see a little bit of profit and they're trying to get out. And so we're going to work on maintaining the trade, right? Staying in the trade and taking the profits. We talked about this earlier. We're going to talk about percentages, probability. This is all about math. This is not about day trading. This is about being a mathematician and just learning straight math, okay? If you get in closer to the crush it zone, the better off you're going to be in the long run. Trust me 100%. I can show you the math 100 times. If you hit the 0.618, a lot of people are like, well, I'm going to scale some up because just in case I get stopped out. Well, it either works or it doesn't. If you look at how many times we hit the zero line, I have been in plenty of trades when I've been up at the 0.618, did not scale, and got stopped out negative 15%. But if you look at the amount of money you make at the stop out versus if you would have just hung on here, that's about 3 or 4 trades worth of profit, which means you can afford that stop out 10, 15% of the time. Does that make sense? So if you have questions on that, we'll talk about that in a little bit too. Let's go to coin and let's talk about coin now. And let's see where coin would have put us at for the month of April. Okay. So here we're at coin and April, $700 in April would have produced. This is no lie. This is all technical setups. You got stopped out 2 times here in the month of April on coin, 2 times. And I know that this is a true story. 2 of these times, someone in the room got stopped out on these 2, and it screwed them up psychologically for the rest of these trades right here. Okay, put so much fear into them that they weren't able to get the full. They weren't able to capture all the moves for the month of April and turn that $700 into $11,000. Okay, so you get stopped out and you get nervous, then you get maybe a 0.382, right? And pretty soon you are playing games in your head. You got head games going on. You're going through all kinds of stuff. When at the end of the day, it's just about staying calm, trusting the process, right? Taking every single trade that you can. And if you get stopped out, so be it. We do have, like I said, in May, we're going to talk about managing the trade. We do have things that we can do that are going to help us take our stops and so they're not 15% losses, but they're more along the lines of 8%, 7%, okay? We never want to go over 15%. Every once in a while, maybe once a month or twice a month, you might carry that stop loss to a 20 to 22%, depending on, price action, what's happening. And, sometimes you can do that, right? But for the most part, you can see coin here, $700 would have been about $11,000. You get an 89% win rating. You're stopped out 2 times in April. March here on coin, $5,000 would have turned into 14, almost tripled your money. I didn't have this on here. Shoot. We're stopped out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I put the stop in here. This is NP for no play. So even though we mark it as a stop out, there was a no play on that day. You would have not gotten into the trade is what I'm trying to say. February, I did not mark out the. Look at all the stops you got. So this would have been a month that you lost $500. This is actually a pretty good example. This is where you need to just stick to it, right? Stick to your guns. Let's go back to October here real quick and talk about coin, right? Took $500 and we tripled the money in November. And then, in October. Then we go to November. We take that $1,500, right? And now that $1,500 turns into $4,900. And look, we got stopped out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, these numbers are off just a little bit in the fact that you are not going to get stopped out all these times. We have strategies put in place that are going to keep us from maybe not getting stopped out 1 or 2 times out of all these. So you're going to get a little bit better mechanical wise. You're going to get a little bit better number on these if you're playing it right, if you're managing the trade appropriately, which we're going to talk about in May here, like I said. So we're at $4,900. We move into December. We take that $4,900, and maybe we take $3,000 of it because we got to pay some bills, right? And now that $3,000 only turns into $3,900. We are 3 months into it, and a lot of people say to themselves, you know what, this strategy is not working. This is not working. I gotta do something else. Nobody's patient enough to hang on and just stick to the process. Look at, you're stopped out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times you're stopped out. And you're like, I need to pay bills. I need to make money. I'm wasting my time. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. Trust me. Look at this. Now we get into December. You only made $900. We get into January. Okay, you take that same $3,000. You just tripled it, right? Now you have $9,000. And you're like, it's getting better, but we'll see what happens. It's got bad history to it. Okay, so we take that $9,000 in February, and we go, yep, see, I thought so. Look at that, $5,000. We're at $4,500. I am 1, 2, 3, 4. I am 5 months into this thing, and I am down. I'm down $500 for the month. I mean, I can't be doing this. This is ridiculous. You see the mindset. Your mindset is just, it's all about negativity. A lot of times when we get in these, it's instead of just being positive, staying the course and trusting the process. Okay. So you're like, man, and you know, the month before, what, you're up $3,000. You know, you remember where you started back in October? You started with $500. You started with $500. We're in January, or is it February? And now you're down. You're up $5,000. You're down $500. So remember, you took $500 and turned it into $4,500. But I know the mindset because I see it day in and I see it day out. I see it all the time. Okay, everybody wants the big money right stinking now. Okay, get into March. We take that $4,500 in March, right? We have $5,000. Now in March we turn it into $14,000. Okay, this is just last month. Now look at how many months it took us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months to get here. Okay, 14 grand. Now we're in April. Okay, I took $700 in April to show you that your $700 turned into $11,000. But if you think about this, how many times does 700 go into 11,000? Right, so 11,000 divided by 700, we're at about 15 times your money. So March, if we would have taken the 14,000 and we would have just put in $10,000 in there, right? $10,000 multiplied by 10 times, you're at $100,000 a month. So now you are, excuse me, you are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months into it, and you're finally at $100,000. How many of you would have made it that long? How many people would have made it that long on this strategy to keep going? Okay. You think there's a better strategy out there? I'm telling you right now, there's an 89% win rate. Look at this on MSTR. The 7-month average on MSTR win rate is 76%. What makes this strategy so great? It's a get up and go strategy. You are not going to find any strategy anywhere out there that is going to show you exactly where your entry is, exactly where your scales are, right? And exactly where your stop losses are. There's no guesswork involved. This is automatic, man. There's nothing, you really need to do other than just keep calm, right? Keep calm and keep yourself at peace, because if you start getting anxious and panicky, then you start mismanaging trades and it screws this whole thing up, okay? Let's get into a couple more here. Let's talk about some of the ones that maybe didn't work out as good as you wanted them to this month. NVDA is one of them. Okay, let's talk about NVDA real quick. NVDA, right? We had a 56% win rating. Okay, you took $1,000. You should have doubled your money with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stops. Was it 2, 4? Yeah, 7 stop outs. Now, I've been playing this all month, and I'm about break even on mine. We had a person in the room that doubled their money on NVIDIA, playing only NVIDIA with a 56% rate, managed the trades appropriately, and doubled their money, okay? That's proof right there. You go back in March, same thing on NVIDIA, tripled your money on a 67% win rate. February on NVIDIA, right? $2,000 turned into $5,000, 2.5 times your money. That win rate's not correct. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this was about a 68% win rate. Let me double check this one real quick. So Thought I had this ready. So we got stop. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 opportunities. We had 17 opportunities minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stopouts. 12 divided by 17, a 70% win rate. That was a 70% win rate. So you can see how that works. January on NVDA, we took $2,000 and tripled our money, right? Now, here's the thing is, now you don't have to start with $2,000 every month. The whole idea is you take this 2,000 turns into 5 and you keep pushing it forward into the next month. And the next month you start with 5 and then that 5 turns into 10 and then that 10, right, turns into 20 and then that 20 turns into 40 and pretty soon you're averaging about $40,000, $50,000 per month. Okay. I'm going to try to make this quick here. We're getting down on the time here. But we have, let's go to Meta. Meta wasn't playing the best this month, and a lot of people bailed on Meta. A lot of people bailed on Meta because it wasn't paying great, and we got stopped out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, which is almost unheard of on Meta, but we were stopped out 10 times on Meta. You can see that Meta has been an extremely well player in the crush it trade strategy over the last few months. Okay, really good stock. You just got to take your time and you got to know, this is trading, man. Every once in a while, you're going to have to buy the buns, right? If you got a hot dog stand, you got to buy the buns to sell hot dogs. Every once in a while, you have the cost of goods sold. You're going to have to pay some money, right? You're going to have to take a break even or a loss or just a little bit of a small month every once in a while. It's going to happen. It happens to everybody. You're going to get a little bit of a drawdown. It's just the way it goes. But look we ended up $2,000. We got down to $1,300 in our account off of $2,000. $20,000 account, we got down to 13. But look we ended the month. If you had a $20,000 is what I normally trade per trade, about 20 grand. $32,000. You still had a $12,000 month if you had $20,000 you're playing with. $2,000 would have produced $3,264. So you guys, that is the double your money challenge, and I encourage you to check it out. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions on any of this stuff? This works, you guys. It absolutely works. I can prove it to you. If you're interested in learning the Crush It trading strategy and you want to learn how to double your money every single month, check us out. You got the links below. With that said, we're going to get ready for the open here in about 30 minutes, you guys.